It began with a radio call. FT-28 to tower, something's wrong. The voice crackled with static, but the panic was unmistakable. Lieutenant Charles Taylor, a seasoned flight instructor with the U.S. Navy, was leading a routine training mission over the warm waters of the Atlantic. It was December 5, 1945, just 6 months after the end of World War II. Flight 19 had taken off from Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale that afternoon with 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers and 14 men aboard. Their mission was straightforward, a navigation exercise over the sea, then back home before nightfall. But something, no one knows what, went terribly, inexplicably wrong. The weather was calm, the planes were mechanically sound, the men were trained. And yet, within just a few hours of takeoff, every aircraft in Flight 19 had vanished, without a trace. This is the story of one of the most baffling aviation mysteries in history, and the legend it helped birth. The day 5 planes disappeared in formation, and the rescue plane sent after them vanished too. It all began as an ordinary Thursday in Florida. The sun hung high in the sky. The war was over, and the country was trying to settle back into peace. At NAS Fort Lauderdale, 5 Grumman TBM Avengers sat lined up on the tarmac. These rugged warplanes had been workhorses in the Pacific, but now they served as training aircraft for young aviators. Flight 19 was scheduled to depart at 2:10 p.m. The group included 4 students and their instructor, Lieutenant Charles Taylor. Taylor had over 2,500 hours of flight time. He was no novice. But according to later reports, he arrived late and seemed anxious, even reluctant to fly. At exactly 2:10 p.m., the 5 planes taxied down the runway and lifted off into the clear blue sky. Their planned route, known as Navigation Problem Number 1, was simple. From Fort Lauderdale, they'd fly east 56 miles to Hens and Chickens Shoals to practice bombing. Then they'd head north for 73 miles, then turn southwest for 120 miles, returning to base, a triangular pattern over the Atlantic. They reached the first checkpoint without issue. They dropped their practice bombs. All was routine. But not long after turning north, something went wrong. At 3:40 p.m., radio operators at the base received a transmission. "This is an emergency," Taylor said. "Both of my compasses are out, and I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm over land, but it's broken. I'm sure I'm in the Keys, but I don't know how to get to Fort Lauderdale." The Keys? That didn't make sense. They should have been over the open ocean. Base operators tried to get Taylor to head north, but his transmissions became erratic. He seemed confused. His voice changed from calm to panicked. At one point, he said, "We can't find west. Everything is wrong. Strange. We can't be sure of any direction. Everything looks wrong, even the ocean." One of the students, likely Captain Edward Powers, was heard contradicting him. "Damn it, if we could just fly west, we'd get home," he said. But Taylor overruled him, and they kept flying, farther and farther out to sea. Radio contact grew fainter. A thunderstorm moved in. Visibility dropped. As the sun set, the temperature plummeted. At 6:20 p.m., Taylor made one last chilling transmission. "All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together." Then silence. Flight 19 was never heard from again. Within minutes, a search and rescue operation was launched. A PBM Mariner flying boat, call sign Training 49, was dispatched from Banana River Naval Air Station with 13 crew aboard. It took off into the darkening sky, and 20 minutes later, it vanished too. Another pilot in the area saw a fiery explosion on the water, followed by an oil slick. It's believed the Mariner exploded mid-air, possibly due to fuel fumes, a known issue with that model. But again, no wreckage was ever recovered. No bodies. Nothing. By the next morning, the Navy had launched one of the largest air-sea searches in U.S. history. Over 300 aircraft and 21 ships scoured 250,000 square miles of ocean for 5 days. They found absolutely nothing. Not a single piece of debris, not a floating life vest, not an oil stain. The planes had seemingly evaporated. The Navy's official report was murky. Initially, they blamed pilot error. Then, after pressure from Taylor's family, they revised it to cause unknown. But the mystery was far from over. As years passed, Flight 19 became legend. Books, documentaries, and conspiracy theories blossomed. People pointed to the so-called Bermuda Triangle, an area of ocean loosely defined as the triangle between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, where ships and planes were said to vanish without explanation. Some believed electromagnetic anomalies confused the plane's instruments. Others suggested rogue waves or freak weather. There were even whispers of alien abduction and time warps. But the truth, however mundane or extraordinary, remains hidden beneath the sea. Decades later, several TBM Avenger wrecks were found off the coast of Florida, raising hopes they belonged to Flight 19. But serial numbers didn't match. The planes were from other crashes. To this day, not one piece of Flight 19 has been conclusively recovered. So what really happened? One theory is that Taylor, despite his experience, had a poor sense of direction and became disoriented. He'd gotten lost in the past. It's possible he mistook the Bahamas for the Florida Keys and headed northeast instead of west. His insistence on controlling the formation may have doomed them all. Another theory posits instrument failure. If Taylor's compasses failed, and if the other planes were under orders to follow their leader, then a simple navigational error could have led them hundreds of miles off course, into fuel exhaustion and a watery grave. Or perhaps something stranger did happen that day. Flight 19 wasn't the first to vanish in the area, and it wouldn't be the last. In 1918, the USS Cyclops, a massive Navy cargo ship with 309 people aboard, disappeared without a trace en route to Baltimore. No distress call, no debris, nothing. In 1948, a British passenger plane carrying 31 people vanished near Bermuda. In 1963, 2 KC-135 stratotankers exploded in midair, but wreckage was scattered miles apart, as if torn by something unnatural. Is the Bermuda Triangle a coincidence, a myth, or a very real, very deadly patch of sea? We may never know. What we do know is this: 14 young men climbed into their planes that December afternoon, laughing, joking, eager to train, maybe thinking of girlfriends back home or holiday plans, and in a matter of hours, they were gone. So was their would-be rescuer. 13 more lives lost. All told, 27 men disappeared that day. 27 families received no answers, no funerals, no graves to visit. Just silence. The kind of silence that hangs over an open ocean, where the horizon is endless and the sky offers no comfort. The kind of silence that swallows whole the sounds of propellers, of static, of frantic voices calling out across the void, hoping someone, anyone, will hear them. But no one ever did. And now the only sound left is the echo of that first call. Something's wrong. Thank you for listening to the Sunken Ledger. Subscribe for more true stories from the depths.